Hello, welcome to the channel. It's me, Chris Brooks, for another LSB film podcast. Today's guest is somebody that you will no doubt recognise, Matt Hoy, widely known for his powerful vocal during his time with the legendary band UB40. No, the other UB40. But Matt's journey didn't stop with music. He's since embarked on a deeper path, one that challenges the very fabric of a world we think we know. Now passionately focused on awakening others to the illusion of our so-called reality, Matt is speaking out about the fraudulent systems designed to keep us asleep. From the stage to the front lines of awareness, Matt Hoy brings both heart and truth, and we're honoured to have him here with us today. So let's get into this.
Are you concerned about all this corruption being rebranded as conspiracy theory? Well, don't you worry. Sit back and relax and join in the conversation with today's guest. Welcome to another LSB Film Productions podcast with your host, Chris Brooks.
Welcome to the show, Matt.
Pleasure to be here, sir. Pleasure, absolute.
So I have to ask you then, obviously, given your background with UB40,
Yeah.
what was the catalyst in making you go down this avenue? Was there a aha moment that thought something ain't right here?
Well, it's UB40. It's Ali Campbell's UB40. It will stay that for legal reasons. So,
Okay.
out mounting.
Yeah.
But yeah, the catalyst for it was the fact that I was fired by the band for not having the COVID jab. That's what really started it.
Right.
I've always been the type of person that's questioned everything all my life anyway. I've always been that annoying person, that why are we doing that for? Why can't you? I mean, I'll just do it, will you? Yeah, but I know, but it doesn't make sense. I've always been that person. But yeah, that was the catalyst in 2021. Once we kind of broken free of all the lockdowns and all that situation. I mean, I'll break it back down even further. For me as a musician and having been with the band for 12 years, touring was like a way of life for me. And I toured the world 3 or 4 times over with the band. So when you went away, say for 2 months, say to America, to tour America, when you got back, you kind of went into your own state of lockdown anyway, because you've been out so long away from home. All you wanted to do was sit at home, be a couch potato and watch Netflix and just be with the kids, and be with your other half. But there always comes a point where after about a week or 2 weeks, then you start getting itchy fingers again, itchy feet, and you want to get back out there on the road like any musician would, So lockdown for me was initially easy to do. It was an easy thing, but then it kind of went on and on and on and on.
I think the weather helped.
Well, yeah. Well, the weather always helps, yeah, and they helped us with that, didn't they? So, but yeah. So for me, it got to the point where it was going on for too long, and since 1999, I've suffered from depression from when my mother passed away. So it started to become a bit of a hole that I was falling in lockdown, if you can understand that. So for me, the light at the end of the tunnel was work, was trying to get to that point where I could get back out and get back on stage again and doing what I do. That was hearing the problem, because we had the message from management saying, we look like we've got the green light. It looks like venues, theatres and blah, blah, blah are going to reopen and live music will hopefully be able to commence again. So we was like, yes, brilliant. They even put a date in the diary, which was Leeds, Millennium Square, which we were going to do. Then came the follow-up emails. Hi, guys, I'm sure you understand, but due to the current situation, every band member is going to need to have the COVID vaccine. So going back over the last, I'd say 4 years, I had a symptom called irregular heartbeats, atrial fibrillation, where the heartbeat beats irregularly. So I'd had 2, what they call now, cardio something or others.
Stints?
Say that again, sorry?
Stints?
No, it's not a stent. It's like where they shock your heart back into rhythm.
Okay.
So pad on the front and back and then shock you back into
a defib.
So I had the one that worked. I was completely naive. I was in a band. I went back out there, started smoking again, started drinking, doing all the things I shouldn't be doing, and it went irregular again. So note to self, don't do that. Changed everything, changed my diet, my lifestyle, started working out. fit as a fiddle, and went and had it again, and it was successful. So this time around, the consultant said to me, said, "I because you're deemed vulnerable now because you've had it twice now." He said, "I suggest you go and have the flu jab." So I was no stranger to a vaccine at this point. I wasn't an anti-vax at all.
Mm.
Naively, being a musician, I toured the world. I'd had to have vaccinations, yellow fever,
Tetanus and all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
all that stuff. So, and looking back at it now as well, me and my partner were talking about it the other day, and she said, "Can you remember every time you had a vaccine, how ill you were, like kind of on the night or the next day?" And it was horrific when I look back.
Mm.
But this, going back to the flu jab, this is what caused that. Now, I had the flu jab from advice from this consultant. On the night, I was taking a shower, and as I was washing, I felt it under my armpit. It was like somebody had sewn half an apple under my armpit. It was huge swelling. And it really hurt. It was really uncomfortable. So I said to her, "Look, I said, I think we're going to need to go to the doctors with this." I said, "It's really uncomfortable." She said, "Look, you know what you like after you have these vaccines, every time you've had them in the past, they cause you a bit of discomfort.
Mm.
Just see how you are in the morning. And if it's still the same, then we'll shoot down the A&E or we'll shoot to the GP and get it sorted." So fair enough. So I went to bed. Anyway, woke up in the morning with a jump like, and it knocked my heart back out of rhythm. So it was all over the place. It was like the intro to EastEnders, honestly. It was all over. Exactly. So,
Yeah.
so from that point on, because the COVID jab was a similar kind of vibe, it was a SARS virus vaccine. There was no way in hell was I ever gonna, take it basically. So I kind of let the emails go back and forth for a while, and I declined. Every band member had it. Every single band member had it. I was the only one that didn't. And yeah, that was my other half, she said to me, said, "Look, you're going to need to get this in writing because I think this is immoral, it's wrong, and they're firing you under, because they're asking you to do something to your body that isn't natural and inject yourself with something that is, untested."
Questionable.
Exactly, and you're not giving consent to it. So I asked them, I said, "Look, unless I have the COVID vaccine, I take it, I'm no longer able to perform or be a part of the band." And they said, "Yeah, that's correct." So basically I got fired over a text, actually, not even an email. They couldn't even upgrade it to an email. And I haven't spoken to any of them since, you know what I
I was
mean?
going to say, what's the situation
No,
like
I
years
haven't
on?
spoken to any of them in 4 years. So, and it's ironic, and I've said this in past interviews, is the fact that when they did go out for this gig in Leeds, it had to be cancelled anyway because two of the guys in the band that had had the vaccine tested positive for COVID. So,
Mm.
ironically, here we are, and that was the catalyst. Then a bit of a long warm up to it, and long build up to it, mate.
That's fine. It's good to get a backstory. Always good to get a backstory. And the longer you talk, the less I have to. So win-win. So that's all good. So yeah, so going on from that then, we then go down like the legal stroke lawful avenue where you've been attacking, well not attacking, that's the wrong word. You've been tackling, sorry, the council tax
Yeah.
and all those kind of things. So what made you go from the government and let's say Nurembergish ways, and then all the way up to tackling the system on a financial fraudulent tax journey?
Yeah, I think more than anything, it's two things. One, it really, well, no, it's three things actually. Um, One is the fact of the mental health issues regarding all of this, the whole thing, no matter what
Mm.
subject matter you talk about, people's mental health is affected by all of it. Secondly, I detest bullies. I detest bullies. I was bullied when I was in junior school, only once. Um, and I managed to sort it out. And from that point on, I've always had a thing at the back of my neck whenever I see or hear a bully that it just fires something in me, and I cannot stand it. So to move this to the level it's at now, oh my God, it's just like somebody's lit a fire in the pit of hell, and I've got to put it out. And the catalyst this morning. The catalyst to move me forward to this was a gentleman called Mark Steele. Now
Okay,
Mark
yeah.
Steele he's a legendary. He works in the field of radiation and weaponry all that kind of stuff. So it went from that basically. I just found out what happens with Mark and the councils, and it was just a general conversation. And he said, "You do realise the Birmingham City Council are a terrorist organisation?" And as soon as he said that, my ears, I said, "Excuse me." Um, and then he just started reeling it all off, and we all went into the 5G masts and the LED street lighting and the ULEZ cameras and all of it, and it just blew me away. And then from that, he went on to energy companies, utility companies, the water board, and how corrupt the whole cooperative system is, so that's where we're at now. They're just all bullies, and I can't stand it. I've got to, and then we break down to the spawn of the pond, which is bailiffs and all that kind of shit, you know what I mean? And dealing with that, and that in itself harps back into the mental health issue, because bailiffs are like horrible little rats, and what they do is they target the vulnerable. So if you're a woman on your own, or if you're an old person, or you are suffering with mental health, they target that, and that's how they win, through fear. And I can't stand it. I can't.
I'm 100% with you. We've seen a couple of bailiffs off.
Yeah.
Just quoting, asking the police, so what legal training have you got to tell me that that's a legal document? Because it's not a legal document. So cough.
I know. And you would think they would learn, are we going to come back with a warrant? And it's like, it's on an iPad. It's like, no, if you have a warrant, it needs to be on paper, signed by the judge with a wet signature. Unless you have that, tatty bye. And also, while you're there, do you have the agreement through GDPR for EDF or, NPower or whoever, British Gas, to use my private and personal details while you're there, because you've broken the Data Protection Act then? Oh, by the way, do you have my contract with my wet signature on? No. They're not doing very well at it, and they keep going to people's, houses and properties with the same shit, and it's just, that's why they depend on fear.
Absolutely. And also, you don't have goods; you have private property.
You got it.
Yeah,
you've got it.
Yeah. So that's they are the vermin, aren't they? There isn't really any other way you can put it. Vermin.
No. And there's
pigeons.
Forthright in their I mean, I used to think they were forthright because they just stood there all bullshit, these big fat blood bulbs. They're like 1980s bouncers, do you know what I mean? But now I see through it. I realise how stupid they actually are, and they have a script to stick to, and they can't veer from it. And they just go, well, I can be here, and I can come in your house. Like, it's like, you really can't, mate. Well, the police are here. Yes, the police are here illegally. This is a civil matter. A crime hasn't been committed. There is no victim, so they are irrelevant. If they do help, then they'll be breaking, Section 26 of the Criminal Act? Criminal Justice Act. So,
I'm of the opinion, and I think it has been proven before, but in most cases, the police are actually hired by the company to turn up. So they're not actually there as police. They're there as paid actors.
Exactly, yeah. So what do they call it? An improper use of police powers. That's what it is. Yeah. So breaking the law as well, and they're complicit. And the thing is, what they don't realise, because it has to be a crime for the police to be there. If they attempt to get into your property, then you are the victim. So the police need to represent you, not the bailiffs. Yeah, they've got it all the wrong way around, you know what I mean?
Well, we live in an inverted world, don't we?
We do.
At the end of the day, it's satanic to the core, pretty much, from everyone that I speak to. But yeah. I am optimistic that people are waking up and that change is afoot. I just think we're going through a collateral damage moment at the moment.
I completely agree. I was at a talk last night in Burnley with Mark Still and Victoria Rickson, the whistleblower wife, and there were a beautiful bunch of people there, all wanting to know what's going on so they can start moving forward as well. But I was saying last night that over the last 4 years, I felt like I've been banging my head against a wall. It was just like, it's like, Jesus Christ, why can't you see? When's the change going to happen? When's it coming? Please, I can't take it. This year, say from January, February is the first time I have ever felt a real shift in the public's, in the consensus of the public, in the minds of the public, awake they're becoming, and I can feel the energies changing. And it's a wonderful thing. I do feel extremely positive about things at the minute, and I knew it would be a natural change over a period of time. But like anybody, you always want it to be now. I want it to change now. I want to see people in 10 Downing Street being dragged out and arrested in cuffs. You know, that's what you want. But realistically, I knew it would be a period of time. And also, you have to anticipate, harping back to people's mental health. I think if it was dropped on us like a bomb, where everything was revealed, I think 50% of the population would go
too much.
Shit back crazy. You know what I mean? It would be too much for them to deal with.
No, 100%. And talking about the mental health issues and stuff, because obviously you've got a family as well, and you're going through all this. You've had all that trauma of being unfairly dismissed, shall we say, plus you're now fighting the councils, and so there's an element of pressure there.
Mm.
How does your wife find all this? Like, my wife knows that there's issues, but she's not in it like I am. She's like,
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, luckily, my other half is quite prominent truther as well.
That's good.
She's actually better than me. It's just that I've got the platform from work. Do you know what I mean? But she is red hot on all this kind of stuff. And she's my first port of call if I need advice and stuff like that. Or not even just advice if I'm feeling deflated, because you can kind of batter against it and stick your head into the wind and keep going and keep going. But sometimes it's like you say, you just need to stop and just recalibrate, you know what I mean? Because it is too much. I think life in general, you have to do that, because anything can be, even a good thing can be too much sometimes. But yeah, luckily she's part of this. I also talk to people and think those that their other halves they're not awake. How they survive. I think one of my window cleaner, he's the same, and he's just on it. And I think he comes to clean my windows more than he should, because
it's not Bob Says, is it?
It's a bit of therapy. Do you know what I mean? No, it's George Formby. But it literally, he goes home. It's like banging his head with a hammer. It's like, oh God, and and we just talk about all the people that we know that are real now, and all of a sudden they're dropping down dead, or got diabetes, or stage 4 cancer, or they've had
horrendous, isn't it? It really is horrendous what's going on.
It's mind blowing,
No, it really is. And like you say, the fact that there's so much cognitive dissonance as well.
Yeah, there is.
Even now.
Yeah, and what I find fascinating, because I love psychology as well, is now people are starting to wake up. You see, it goes either one or two ways. And the first way is they get nasty, and they just want to shut you down because they don't want to admit that they were wrong. And the other way is like, well, why are you only telling me this now? Oh my God, I can't believe. It's like, well, no, I was actually telling you 4 years ago, 5 years ago, but you chose not to listen. You chose to call me a shitload of names and fall out with me. So it's quite, I don't know what the word is really, because sometimes you get that "I told you so" vibe, but it's too serious on people's health and lives to kind of have a "I told you so" moment with it all, because it's so tragic what's happening, and people don't realise they're in World War III and they haven't got a clue,
Exactly. In fact, I did read an article not that long ago saying that we should be expecting missile strikes. So, hey. But then you've got to make, how much of this is all distraction for something else?
It's all distraction. It's all distraction. I mean, I do believe through, however it was with Christ, love, Trump, the white hats, all this kind of thing, truth is at the core of all of it. You can kind of believe in whichever one of those you want to believe in, whichever gives you comfort in following. But at the end of the day, the main thing is truth, and truth always breaks through and wins in the end. And that's what we're seeing now over the last 4 years. Truth has been just chipping away at the narrative. And this year, a big chunk has come off and exposed a lot of things. And now people are questioning everything, every single thing you could think of in history. I mean, whenever did you ever think that we'd be sitting here talking about the Tartarian system back, and the education system and when it was rebuilt and, all that kind of stuff. And even to the point of flat Earth, 20 years ago, if you spoke about the Earth is flat, you would have been laughed out of town. And I even think 6 months ago, you probably would have done that. But people are actually now sitting there going, well, actually, it's worth looking into.
Well, I think since, and this is kind of like the blessing since 2020, but since 2020, because there's been so much dishonesty that people are now starting to question, well, if we've been lied about that and we've been lied about this, who's to say that that's not a lie?
Well, this is true. And going back to what I said, I think with all the white hats and everything, the truth, I think we've already won this war on humanity more than anything. I do think we've won, but I think it's being exposed bit by bit so people don't lose their minds over stuff, because the level of psyop, the level of brainwashing over the last 300-400 years is absolutely incredible. I mean, you have to, even though I don't believe in it, you have to admire it, because people are, God, they'd die on the cross over it. You know what I mean? It's incredible. The whole education system is just, it's bullshit. History is bullshit. It's all bullshit. You know what I mean? And now people are waking up to it. And what you got to think as well, all the evidence was there before, but people just ignored it. I mean, they were telling us in movies and all that kind of stuff, and it's starting to show itself now, and people they're getting the willies, man.
They are. Yeah, absolutely. What's that one with was it Stephen King's film? No, not Stephen King's. John Carpenter's They Live. Is it They Live? With the sunglasses. Obey.
Oh, yes. Absolutely. Yeah. That's incredible. That's
a great film.
Yeah. But that's exactly what it is. And then you have like Terminator, you have The Matrix and all that, The Truman Show. They're all analogies of what we're coming out of,
Oh, it is, yeah. They have to tell it's for karma reasons, isn't it? They have to tell us what they've got planned.
Yeah. What was it? The television programming that's all that they're telling you what they're doing. They're programming. You know what I mean? So.
And speaking of programming, I've got a question for you.
Oh.
So you've spoken about the fraudulent systems that seek to keep us in a certain place.
Yeah.
What do you think the first step people can take to break free from that programming?
I think it's quite simple, really. Is lose the fear. Lose the fear. I mean, that's what I did. I know this is going to sound ridiculous, but the worst that could happen is they'll put me in prison for 6 months. That's the worst that could. So if you lose the fear from that, I'm prepared to go 6 months in prison for what I believe in. That's the worst they can do. You know what I mean? To the point where I have had threats. I have had an attempt on my life doing all this. Yeah. They tried to run me off the road. A friend of mine, Mark Sexton, who's a retired officer, who is another reason why I do this, because I think he's inspirational and I think he's a wonderful man as well. He said to me, have you had a visit from the Men in Black? And at that point, I'd had nothing. He said, well, you will. He said, you're on their cards, you're on in their address book, blah, blah, blah. And he had a similar thing, not quite as violent as mine, but he was at the lights, main set of traffic lights in Birmingham, and this big blacked out Range Rover pulled up and the window went down, and they were just checking him. And he knew it was them because he's been in the police force. So anyway, I did a festival last August in Leicestershire, and we were on our way home. It was about midnight. So I'm driving down this country lane, and I can see this car in the rearview mirror, and he's giving it some coming up behind me. So I'm just thinking he's going to zoom past me, but he didn't. He went bang straight into the back of me, shunted us forward, and I thought, oh my God, he's drunk, he's pissed. We need to pull over. So I'm making the move to pull over. He's dropped back and accelerated again and smashed into the back of us again and kind of shunted us over towards the side of the road. So what is going on? We've got out the car. I've walked to the back of the car, and he's reversed over to the other side of the road and then just driven at our car and at me. And I'm thinking, I just closed my eyes. I thought, this is it. This is where it's going to end. But he just missed me and drove to the front of the car and then proceeded to reverse into the front of it, drive forward again, and then wheel spin, reverse into the front of it again, and then shut off. So all the car was all blacked out. We were trying to get in the door. It was all locked. We couldn't, and then he sped off. So we got in touch with the police and everything like that. They didn't want to know. They couldn't even give us a crime number. So we gave the reg of the car, which wasn't a normal car reg either. And I said, look, we're literally about 2 miles away from the junction of the motorway. You've got speed cameras. You've got ANPR cameras. You could have easily picked up this registration plate. It would have flagged up. No,
unfortunately, they all have the same secret handshake.
You got it. You got it. So that was that. So that for me at the time was extremely frightening. But
were you alone?
No, I was with my other half. And she stood in front of our car while they reversed into it, and she stood in front of our car, and I just had to shout to her and say, "Get out of the way," because I knew they were going to come back again, because she was like trying to stop them. But it made me even more angry and more determined, because I knew myself and the people that were surrounding me that were doing the same thing were pressing the right buttons, and it was pissing them off because it was highlighting exactly what they're up to.
You were over the target.
And this is what we have to do. You know, we have to highlight their fraudulent behaviour. You know, it's criminal what they're doing to people, and especially taxation as well. I mean, if you think about everything you touch, eat, move, buy, everything is taxed, and then they try and tax you again on your earnings.
Yeah.
You know, it's immoral.
And when you die.
Exactly. And money that you've earned over the years that you want to give to your relatives or your children, and they try and tax you on that. It's absolutely disgusting. Absolutely disgusting.
It is.
So,
that's why I work for donations, though.
No, brilliant. You know, this leading on to that. This is I'm currently with Victoria Rickson, who is the midwife whistleblower. She's incredible. She's taking all these bailiffs to court and winning. And she's actually taken the council to court as well over council tax now. And they are absolutely bricking it because she's got a watertight case. But we're working together alongside the peace officers, an organisation that was set up by Peace Officer Davey. I can't remember his surname, unfortunately. But at the moment, there's about 100 officers in the UK. And they've been especially formed because of their knowledge with the law. So if there is anybody that's vulnerable out there, like old people, you know, if they have bailiffs turn up at the door threatening them, they've just got to make a call, and hopefully one will be in the area and they'll turn up and they can
assist,
dissolve the whole situation.
That's kind of what we've got, but obviously not peacekeepers. We've just got a group of lads who are up on knowledge of it, and the minute someone's being threatened by a bailiff, it's and then you get about 10 people turn up.
Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
And that's kind of how you have got to do it, isn't it?
Well, you should link me in with these people as well, because we need to expand and make this peace officer thing a nationwide organisation, because what Davey is trying to do is he's got a GoFundMe page, which I'll give you the details for later. But he's trying to get an app on your iPhone where if you do have problems, you haven't got time to go, just let me make a phone call. You can just press the app and it will know where you are and they'll come and assist. Now, none of the peace officers get paid. So the GoFundMe stuff and charitable donations all go to their expenses. So obviously they pay people's petrol and blah. But that's what they're trying to set up at the minute, because it is fraudulent. It is unlawful what they're doing to people, and it needs exposing. I am luckily enough to have a platform, and I've been speaking to a TV news channel, which is a national news channel, and they're prepared to do a piece on this as well. So whenever any bailiffs do turn up at my door, I've fully orchestrated it, you see. So I've got CCTV, I've got the Ring doorbell, I've got the phone. It's all being filmed and it's all going to be edited for a piece on national.
That's good. But do you not get a little bit dubious when it comes to mainstream media?
No, not so much, because the times are changing. Things are changing. People are waking up. And the media, although they're corrupt as well, they're not stupid. So they're always trying to be one step ahead of the other news channel, the other newspapers. So if they can be the one that saw the change first and be a part of it and pretend, well, we saw it actually, we were only covering this, but we did this, you didn't do that, you were still back. So I think a lot of it is that. And if I can get the truth out there on the mainstream media, which at the moment they've agreed to, because I've explained to them how these companies are fraudulent, and it's factual, it's lawful. I've told them the facts, and they can't argue with them. So this is why they're interested in doing it. Especially with energy companies and stuff like that, when they try to make out that they own the meters that are in your property just because they're supplying. I mean, people like EDF, E.ON, npower, British Gas, they're just brokers.
Mm.
They supply the energy. It's the national grid that supplies the energy.
It's already paid for.
What people have had happen to them is they've been duped into a false sense of credit. So they give people credit. That's what they do. And I don't remember signing a credit contract with EDF or E.ON or British Gas. So basically, it's fraudulent.
Mm-hmm.
There is no contract. So that's
Under the Bills Act.
Yes, exactly. It's fraud. They're on about 3 cases of fraud at the minute, and then for them to pass on your personal details as well as that when you don't pay, they're breaking the law again. So it's not looking good for these people, and I think they know that, and that's why everything is being ramped up. The fear is being ramped up at the minute, and that's why a lot of, I mean, even the COVID thing again. Now they're trying to ramp that up again. It's like, come on, give me a break, right?
They tried it with monkeypox. They tried it with smallpox. They've tried it with goodness knows what else in between.
I think they just go through one of these wildlife books and just go, which one? Oh, no, it's armadillo pox next week. It's just.
Shall I tell you what I find really enjoyable to do, because I'm sad like that? But when you're on Crapbook and you see like
when you're on, sorry,
Crapbook.
Oh, I thought you said when you're on crack. I was like,
oh no, Crapbook. I can't afford things like that. Yeah, and you're looking through where they've advertised, get your next flu, whatever, and you just read the comments, and it's all like
brilliant,
basically, isn't it?
Isn't
That's so refreshing to see.
But that's
5 years ago, that would have been the case. It'd been, oh, you're so immature, you're so irresponsible. But now it's like, fuck.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the change, that's the shift, and that's why I feel happier and more content within myself doing what I'm doing. And also, it's going to change everything. Everything will change. You know what I mean? Even down to the industry that I'm in now. All of this has exposed the entertainment industry. With Pizzagate, the Illuminati, all those with the paedophiles. And
are you familiar with Mark Devlin?
Oh yeah, Mark. I know Mark.
Yeah.
We've done a few festivals together, but it's everything's being exposed.
Mm.
So we're going to have a new music industry when all this is finished, and it's going to be fantastic. And it's the same with all the other industries, the infrastructures.
Well, perhaps maybe I'll get to be a part of that one instead.
Well, it's more advisable.
Mm. Yeah, because you don't want to be selling those souls.
Well, no, and the thing is, the music industry is full of backstabbers anyway. So if we can at least improve it and clean it out a little bit and get rid of the dirge, then that's a bonus in my opinion. But yeah, it needs doing, and it's about time, really.
So before we wrap up, then what plans have you got for the future? Is there anything in the pipeline that you're excited for?
Everything I'm doing at the moment, and this is not really me, because I'm quite pessimistic on things unless they actually happen. I don't go with it. But I have got so many projects on the boil at the minute, and every single one of them is showing good faith, and they're really exciting. So I've got new music coming out soon with my new band, House of Fire. I have a single release coming out at the end of June. We have, sorry, I'm sorry, because I've been solo for so long. I keep saying but we have. And we've got some brilliant covers that we've done, some old classics, and we've got some amazing original material that we've been working on in the studio, and I can't wait to get out there and play live.
Well, I'm just going to put it out there, long shot, but if you ever want any video production done, I did used to make lots of music videos before I started doing this.
Well, there you go. Give me a number.
Yeah, I will gladly give you my number. But listen, thank you so much for your time today. I've really enjoyed hearing your story, your journey, and the inspiration that you're giving other people. So I'd like to thank you for that.
Oh, bless you. Thank you. That means a lot, mate. Thanks.
No, definitely. And we need more people like it. So everyone stand up and be counted. I hope you've enjoyed this podcast. I've really enjoyed this podcast. And until next time, look after yourselves. All the best. Bye.